My name's Elizabeth, and I'm Circe. Okay. I swear to the gods, I'm not a man-hater. Sure, I am a feminist, but I have other reasons for turning men into pigs, into animals. Mine.
The guys who had visited.
The guys who had visited me before were great men, honestly. So I gave them the greatest gift I could. I turned them into my pets. I even allowed them to forget their hardships so they could actually enjoy themselves. But damn, the first thing Odysseus' men did was barge into my house while I was just singing and weaving at my loom. It was so incredibly rude. But me being me, I knew exactly what to do. I smiled, fed them, and studied them so I could get inspiration on what I should turn them into. But the only thing running through my head was, what the fuck were their manners? They were constantly shoveling food into their mouths. They didn't even thank me. And they... Line? And acted like a bunch of pigs. So I turned them into swine that they were. When Odysseus wandered into my halls, I was more than thrilled. You see, I was getting kind of bored of my current company and had hoped for something more entertaining. As I fed him, I noticed he wasn't as terrible as the others, and I was ready to turn him into a bear or some shit. But no, he sticks a blade at my throat. And although I was pretty impressed by the fact that he wasn't affected by my potions, I was livid. And I bet that smitten goddess Athena was behind it all. From what I've heard, she's the only one at Olympus who constantly sticks her neck out for that insignificant mortal. So I offered to have sex with him, just get under her skin, and save my own, but that's besides the point. Mine. And I low-key planned to kill him afterwards. But he made me swear on the freaking river of sticks that I would do no harm to him ever. And he even had me turn his disgusting crew back into humans and brought the rest of his men into my house. My palace was filled with men, and they continued to eat like animals. They left a mess everywhere, and they were so fucking loud. And that wasn't even the worst part. They stayed in my home. All of his men stayed in my home for nearly a year because Odysseus was drunk on my affection. Although, I don't blame him. I am an intoxicatingly beautiful goddess. So, when they finally pulled him out of his trance, they came to me and asked for guidance, to which I said, go to hell. And at first they're like, what? But I literally meant, go to hell. So they left. When they returned, they had a burial for the friend who died in the most hilarious way possible, being so drunk that he fell off my roof, and made preparations to leave my island for good. And I, being the generous, benevolent goddess that I am, warned them of all the things that they would encounter. But as soon as I start talking about that thought, Scylla, I could not stop. Okay, backstory time. Scylla had stolen the heart of the only being I ever loved, a sea god named Glaucus, and she rejected him. The nerve of that ignorant nymph. So he comes swimming to me, asking for a love potion, and moping about how Scylla thought he was an unlovable creature, and yada, yada, yada. I told him to suck it up, and to find someone who actually liked him back. Maybe someone who is more powerful than a nymph. Someone who lived on an island. Someone who was surrounded by tame beasts. Someone who was standing in front of him. But he basically friend-zoned me. So I called up my girl, hey Kate, and she gave me the typical best friend talk, like, you could do so much better, and he doesn't deserve you, and my favorite, there are plenty of other fish in the sea. But even after that, I was still plenty shitty. So I gave him a potion, and by the time night fell, she had become such a hideous creature that even the Gorgons would avoid her. Okay, sorry, I got a little bit sidetracked. Anyways, I had heard my dad, Helios, ranting about how Odysseus' men ate one of his precious cows. And I practically facepalmed. Like, how hard could it be to avoid one island? Out of all the monsters you managed to escape from, a cow was your downfall. And while his men were chomping on some sacred cow meat, where was Odysseus? He was taking a nap in some cave. Like, his lazy ass could have at least slept near his men so he could at least hear when a cow was being slaughtered. And I used to admire his cleverness. So Zeus hurled some thunderbolts, and pretty much everyone died except for, guess who? Odysseus. And apparently he has a thing for washing up on shore and having sex with the nearest goddess, because after that ordeal was over, he was having a fling with Calypso. Oh, how sweet, faithful Penelope would have tossed and turned, knowing that her husband spent 8 years in total with 2 different women. Goddesses at that. Line. And now I wish he'd never gone back to Ithaca, because he needs to be here paying child support for the 3 kids I apparently gave him. According to some fucktard named Egamon, I bore 3 of his sons, and I sure as Hades would have remembered that shit. And so, line? I bet Odysseus was bragging about how he got some from a goddess, and it somehow stuck. Line. Oh, how I'd love to give him a piece of my mind. But now, line, sorry. He has given me enough troubles and wrinkles to last a millennium. And now that my potion's complete, I can finally forget that douche.